So I started playing cello when I was about 5 years old and drums when I was about 10 years old. And I started with classical cello, and basically that was my primary focus for maybe first 10 years. And then second 10 years, you know, but I was always playing drums and I was really interested in jazz and improvisation. And then second 10 years I decided to focus on drums, and I went to study drums, and I kind of left cello, you know. And then after that time, I studied film music, and in film music it's very useful sometimes to have cello, you know. So I started playing a bit cello again and slowly loading up. And then at a certain point, I had a little bit of a struggle in my career. I didn't have so many gigs. I was kind of going down, and then at this point I got this idea, okay, if I ever will have the time and want to do something, you know, I have to do it now, to combine cello and drums. I didn't know if it will be interesting at all or if it has a future, but I kind of took it a bit like an experiment. So I made a first album, which is like a very strict separation between like a classical cello playing and jazz drums playing, and you know, sometimes on top of each other. And there I recorded Bach cello suites, one cello suite, Bach and Fratres from Arvo Pärt, and one of my own compositions. And I arranged it for this setup with cello and drum. And after that I thought like, okay, I don't have an idea how this could be played live, because I don't have 4 hands, you know, and 2 feet and 4 feet. But then there was one promoter from Slovenia who saw my crowdfunding video, because I was crowdfunding this album. And he told me, man, this sounds very interesting, why don't you come play at our festival? So then I was like, I had a whole summer, you know, and I was thinking, okay, shit, how can I play now this live, you know, on the festival? So then I started to slowly improvise on cello and start using loops and trying to combine these two things, and it's like it's very challenging for me, because it's a solo concert, which in itself already is very challenging, you know. And then you have 2 instruments and different kind of genres, but so I think it's something that will basically last a lifetime for me. Well, I take inspiration really from very diverse things, and usually it's like I either get inspired from another piece by some classical composer, or some part of it, or by some idea that I have, that I'm just walking, you know, in the nature or somewhere, and I start to have this idea, and then I come home and start working on it. And then many times it happens that when I have this basic idea, then I structure it around some kind of story, like either from mythology or story that I have in my own head, or so that it's a little bit, that it has some kind of face, or how to say, you know, like that it has some kind of shape. And storytelling anyway is very interesting to me, because I'm also making movies and I'm writing scripts. So I'm seeing, like in script writing, how it connects to music writing, and how improvisation connects to, I don't know, directing actors, and how, you know, like all these things are actually at the core very much connected, and I use these influences also in my music. Yeah, I actually play one song, and now I'm working on a second one, which is a traditional song that we used to play. We used to sing with my grandmother, you know, and she would always, like, we would be driving somewhere in the car, and she was like, oh, let's sing this song, you know, like she really loved it. And then at a certain point I found a right way to play it, because the Slovenian songs are very peculiar. They don't have any rhythm. They don't have rhythm. They have sad lyrics, but major melody. So it's a really strange combination, and it's hard. I find it really hard to arrange for jazz or for improvisation. It's kind of very locked. But recently I started thinking about this more, like how would I incorporate this, and also not just Slovenian, but like Slavic influences. You know, like I'm working on a traditional song from Serbia, or, you know, things like this.